So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Les French Wine Day to speak about wine for sharing with friends. These themes refer to still wines with an export price that not exceed €6 net of tax ex works. Remember that you can view all the products present in the selection and also the top 10 on our web platform testefrance-wineandspirit.com. The session will hosted by Stephanie Döring. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today. The session will be recorded and you can ask your questions in writing in the chat. Enjoy your session. Over to you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. So welcome to the French Wine Days, and we have a very fun topic. It's the topic wines among friends. So actually it's the most fun part. So that means wines which are easy drinking, love to celebrate with, to have a good party with, and to just, enjoy. We have lovely 10 producers are here as well. So we have a good chat. We have a good, morning together. And you're welcome to ask some questions, to talk as well. So we start with the Gewürztraminer. So maybe you get your Gewürztraminer ready, and perfect. It's from Cave de Beblenheim. So, the town of Beblenheim is a few kilometers away from Reikwehr and Sellenberg. So these are the very, known towns of Alsace. And I love to have this Gewürztraminer chosen for you. I mean, maybe I need to talk about the 10 wines before. So we had 300 wines to taste, and we've chosen the top 10 wines. So these are the top 10 wines from 300. And I'm very happy that we have this lovely range, and I'm fall in love with these wines. So, and I'm very happy to have an Alsace wine here as well in these 10 wines, because, especially in Germany, I'm here in Hamburg, Alsace wines is not that popular anymore. So, but I really love to bring it back on the map, because Alsace wines are really lovely to drink, especially for an aperitif. If you have this Gewürztraminer now in your glass, you feel it's not that sweet. It's very crisp. It's lovely. We have lychee flavors. We have a little bit of ginger, and we have this tangerine aromas, which is really lovely. So it's got a dry feeling. So it's kind of an aperitif. So it's a perfect start for our tasting today. So Francois, you're here with us. I'm very, very honored to have you here. So you have around 150 producers in your cave, is this right?
Yes, that's right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Alsace. Welcome, Stephanie. We have in Bebelheim is a winery which was created in 1952. We have about 160 vine growers. Most of them are located very near to the village of Bebelheim, about 3 or 5 kilometers around. But we have also a part which is located more to the north in the area of Obernai and Dorlisheim, where we have also about 130 hectares which are located there. The winery is really focused on all the varietals but we try to have wines with purity, with fineness. We are more on wines where we can have easy access for them for most of people. The winery is also exported, and the wines are exported in a lot of countries. That's why we are dedicated to all what is concerning quality management and so on. We are EFS and BRC certified. We are going towards more environmental practices, and more than the half of the winery is undergoing the process to go to organic wines, to biodynamic. So for this wine, Stephanie also already introduced it. It's quite an important part, Gewürztraminer, for our wines. But we propose, of course, the full range going from still to sparkling wines with a lot of Crémant and several Grand Cru or late harvest. So it's a very good aperitif for beginning the session.
Absolutely, and I love to start with this lovely Gewürztraminer. So tell me about, you have lots of clay soils, is this right? Is this does it affect the Gewürztraminer, for example? Is this very important for this kind of aromatic grape varieties?
Yes, it's very important. We have in the area around Bebelnheim a lot of clay soils. We have even a Grand Cru, which is on clay soil, and simply to show you the interest and the impact of it, it gives a warm soil, it gives a better ripeness, and nearly all of the Grand Cru is planted with Pinot Gris and Gewürztraminer, which are the two varietals which have the best benefits of this type of soils.
And I learned that you work with lots of oak barrels as well to vinificate the wines. Is this right?
Yes, a lot is not really the term. We have several wines in oak barrels. We vinify some of them to get some more oxygenation in the wines, to get a better coming out of the aromas. We have also a part of the range which is vinified and aged in oak barrels in Strasbourg at the Cave des Hospices de Strasbourg. We have a very wide range and with a lot of specificities.
So you feel, Francois, I really fall in love again with Gewürztraminer. So I didn't have this in mind for a few years, but your wine brought me back this Gewürztraminer, and I think it's a very good, as I said already, a good aperitif, a good refreshing wine to start off with. Even, it cleans the palate a little bit. So, we all had coffee maybe this morning, so I think the Gewürztraminer really goes sharp, through the palate and really refreshing. So thanks for your lovely wine. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. So the second wine will be the Côte de Gascogne. So maybe we have this ready. You get this. Maybe you go to the fridge or you have this next to you. Fantastic. And I must say, I really love this area. So we're here in Southwest France, next to the Pyrenees. I think I heard the Gascogne also named as the Tuscany of France. We need to ask later if this is right. We're here Maison Marlin in Southwest France, as I said. The perfect thing is here, that's why I really love it. We have all the grape varieties in there. So we have Colombard, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Uni Blanc, Petit, and Gros Marsanne. So this is a very lovely cuvée, and I really feel this. You can feel every single grape variety in this wine. It's so balanced and it's so refreshing, and it's really dangerous because it's lovely to drink and to have a few glasses with this wine. So I think the founder is Jérôme, and he started very early in the wine producing business. And actually it's funny because it means happy hour, so it's a perfect happy hour wine here. So you've got this kind of really lovely appley, citrusy aromas, and it's really a lovely wine. So we have here Jérôme. Jérôme used, I mean, I said we started very early. I mean, you look so young, but we heard so many great things about you, and you're such a talented and kind of a prominent person in Southwest France, yeah? So can you go to the marketplace and without knowing anyone? I don't think so, because you're kind of famous in your area, and you did so many great things for Côte Gascogne. So I'm very honored that you're here with us and to talk with us.
Okay, thanks a lot, Stephanie, and good morning, everybody. We are very glad to be with you today. So actually, we are a young company. I created it 10 years ago, which is quite recent on the wine sector, on the wine area, let's say. I come from the southwest. I come from Béarn, at the bottom of the Pyrenees. I grew up in the Domaine Marler, where we were having grapes before, and I decided to create a house specialized on southwest wines. So we gather all main appellations, which are Gascony, Cahors, Bergerac, Jurançon, Madiran, etc. And the idea is to promote all the nice wines we have in the region. They are generally sold by huge cooperative. They are working well, but we want to make a different work. And so we have worked a lot on quality. We have worked a lot on marketing also. All our packaging are eco-friendly. 90% of our wine are organic or coming from properties which are high environmental value. So we have 21 references of wine, and with 12 appellations and 12 properties. And we work mainly in France. We have worked now mainly in France. We have national positions in France with retail chains, also with Horeca, and we would be glad to start with Germany. Our first sale and our first wine is actually the Gascony you are tasting now, which is made with five grapes, representing quite well all what we have in Gascony with Chardonnay, Sauvignon, Uni Blanc, Colombard, and Gros Mansin. Our philosophy is to propose wines which are, if I may say, more pleasant to taste than the standard of all appellations. So if we take in Gascony, we have 2 or 3 very known domain or brands. Our purpose is to be more pleasant or better in terms of quality. It's subjective, actually. You have to decide and you have to taste it. But this is what we want to do in all appellations we work with. And so in order to deliver nice valorization, nice quality, and to bring the Southwest all over the world, in Germany. So
I heard that your philosophy is as well, eat well, drink well, and spend your money well. So, and, I think you can really just put this on your wines. It's perfect.
Yes, because Southwest we are not Grand Cru. I assume that 100%. This is sharing with people. That's why, because of the name of the wine, because it's Les Heures Heureuses, it's really happy moments, because this is what we live in the Southwest, with aperitif, with the with your wife or your husband or with your cousins or friends. And so that's why this is wines for sharing.
It's very unusual to have lots of grape varieties in Côte Gascogne. Why you have chosen to put all these grape varieties in one blend?
Mainly, Gascony has 2 or 3 grapes in 90% of the dried wine, which is Colombard, Uni Blanc, and quite a lot Sauvignon. By bringing Gros Mansin, which is the typical variety of Jurançon, we bring a lot of complexity in terms of aromas, more complexity in terms of aromas, and mainly with an exotic touch. And by bringing the Chardonnay, we bring some delicacy with longer in mouth, complexity also. We try to fight in some sense with the Chablis, even if we are on our own specialties. But I mean, we try to reach such a level of refinement.
There's lots of like saltiness and some flinty aromas in the wine. Is this like because of the dry soil? Is it quite hot in Southwest France, or why do you get this kind of minerality in your wines? It's really strong and it's really delicious.
Yes, because this is brought because of the variety of the cepage first, because so we have quite a lot of complexity. Also because all the vinification part we harvest by night, honestly, so we are able to preserve all the aromas of the grapes, and also is quite good technology with the vinification. So all is vinified separately by the grape, all with temperature controlled, and like this we preserve perfectly all the aromas and we find initially in the grapes.
Perfect. So you're just 10 years on the market, and I think your wines are really fantastic. So, and what's the future plan? So,
if I may say, we have 10 years, but we have the highest growth in the market from the Southwest. And obviously, we are not the biggest from that, but we have the highest growth in the Southwest. We are two mainly houses proposing new way of discovering Southwest of wines. Our purpose now is to start with export in Europe, and honestly, Germany is our first market. We have no representation so far. We have some first contacts, but that's it. And as our specialty is white wine because of the Gascony, we may think that we can start maybe with white wine and Gascony in Germany, and after we can propose also some other red wines, obviously with Cahors or whatever, or Madiran, etc.
I think this white wine is a perfect combination, you know, you need to have in your shop or restaurant, because of course we are Riesling country here and people are really like, sensitive with this acidity. I think it's very good, you know, especially this wine for people who don't like the strong acidity, but really want to have a fresh wine. So I think it's a must have here in Germany.
We do agree, Stephanie.
Perfect. So
Thanks
now,
a lot.
Thanks so much, Jérôme. Thanks so much. So now we're going to...
Oh, we have one or two comments in the chat, so
Yes.
maybe it's interesting for you. Love the real Gascogne bouquet. And another, I think the Sauvignon has chalky aromas with nuance of gooseberries.
Gooseberries.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Gooseberries.
perfect. Gooseberries. Yeah, very nice. I think so. Perfect.
Perfect.
Great.
And if some of you come this summer or whenever in the Southwest, you're welcome.
Great. Now we're traveling to Loire Valley, to Touraine, and so La Chapinière, Sauvignon Blanc, and I think Touraine is, I mean, we all know, of course, Sancerre and so on, and this prominent village, but I think Touraine is such a very good experience and a lovely discover. I mean, you can discover lots of wines here. And we have a Sauvignon Blanc, which is like not that grassy and greenish. So you have got this kind of really decent aromas of, passion fruit, a little bit of pineapple. So I think it's a lovely exotic wine. I always say it's like a pina colada, but without milk, in a good way. So I really love this kind of aroma play. And it's such a great wine, especially when you sit outside. I mean, summer is coming and this is a lovely wine. So I really fall in love with this wine. So we have two founders here. So the winery is near Chinon. So I think we have here from Perfect. Hello.
Hello, Stephanie. Thank you very much for your comments. I'm Domiti. Nice to meet you. So we are in the Loire Valley and I'm in charge of export for Baudry du Tour. Baudry du Tour, it's a story about wine, friends and family. Actually, Christophe Baudry is a wine grower in Chinon from father to son for 6th generation. He welcomed Jean-Martin Dutour when he was a young enologist and agronomist who arrived in the region in 1993 to manage Domaine du Roncet. And very quickly they became friends, they shared their tools, their domains, their ideas and experience. from their complementarity, Baudry du Tour was born in 2003. And since then, they have never stopped to have new projects. Our vineyard grew step by step to become one of the main producers in the appellation Chinon. And we constantly question the relationship between human and wine, which is very special, and our role as wine growers. That explains our philosophy, which is based on viticulture, conservation viticulture, which is a truly sustainable approach. It's founded on agronomy and on the life of soil. The idea is to create a kind of virtuous circle between the soil, the air, and the vine. To have biodiversity, to have various plant covers, to protect the soil and supply the organic material. La Chapinière that you are tasting, it's our very, very last project because whereas we are well established in Chinon, we wrote a new page of our story in 2020 by exploring the Val de Cher, which is really the region for Sauvignon Blanc in the Loire Valley. Obviously, you know, Sancerre a bit more on the east, but it's a big region. And in this part of Loire Valley, it's really Sauvignon Blanc, the king grape. Christophe and Jean-Martin entrusted the vineyards to Justine. She's Christophe's daughter, so the 7th generation is here. She came back to her native region after exploring the vineyards all around the world. A big work on the vineyard was launched to understand and assess each plot, to restructure the vines, to sow the first plant covers, and to launch the conversion to organic growing. So the the wine that you are tasting is in conversion to organic, and we will need 3 years to be labeled, to be certified organic. So the challenge is huge, but it's exciting, and we are proud because this first vintage has just received a silver medal at Mondial du Sauvignon and was elected as an ambassador from the wine growers themselves to represent the appellation. And I'm really, really glad to share it.
Great. So you work organically since 3 years now.
This one is in conversion to organic. So actually, we took over these plots in 2020. So 2020, the vintage that you are tasting, is our first vintage of conversion. And we will be certified organic for the vintage 2023.
Okay, fantastic. And how many hectares you've got in Touraine? How many different wines there are in your domain?
In Touraine, we have currently 35 hectares. We are replanting also a part, and it's mainly dedicated to Sauvignon Blanc. We produce Touraine Sauvignon and Touraine Chenonceau, which is a specific denomination in Touraine. And we have a few plots, but really teeny plots of old varieties that we have decided to keep and to preserve. It's quite autochthone varieties like Pinot Donis or Orbois. So it's teeny plots with some uncommon, I would say, quite uncommon varieties. And then the other part of our vineyard is really in Chinon. We are from Chinon at the origin, where we have 4 domains. And there we produce Chinon Red, but also white and rosé, because Chinon is most famous in red, but we also can produce some white wines and rosé wine from Chinon appellation.
Perfect. It's a really great wine, and you really don't forget this wine. When we tasted this flight, this was really high rated. So we all our judges, we were 6 judges, really loved this wine. So we tasted blind, of course, and it was really a surprise. Yeah. And it's a great Sauvignon. So it's very different, and it's so it's a taste you don't forget, and you don't really yeah, we really fall in love with this wine because of this kind of crispiness and freshness, and of course Sauvignon Blanc, but not too overloaded, not too much extraction. So it's really like a fine, silky, smooth Sauvignon Blanc. Thanks so much for this lovely wine. It's really, really amazing wine.
Thank you so much.
So we're changing color right now, and we go to rosé. We start with the Le Cepage by Louis Chavy. Perfect, great. Yes, from Burgundy. Jean Chavy is a very talented winemaker from Burgundy, actually. I think he's got like round about 7 hectares in Burgundy also. This is a very new rosé, so it's a very new style, very happy. It's kind of a, new thing we present you here. So it's a fantastic rosé made from Pinot Noir, 100%. And as we all know, rosé is really getting more and more famous and popular. So especially in spring and summer, we sell lots of rosé wines. So people really like to drink it, and it's not, it's a girl's drink anymore. So it's really like on the map again, and it's very important as a wine as well. And yeah, especially this one, we don't really want this kind of fruity and sweet rosés. We really want to have fine and dry and really subtle rosé wines. We have Yvelisse here from Jean-Louis Chavy. Is this right? Hello. So
yeah, hello, Stephanie.
Now,
yeah. Thank you for your comments. Yeah, it's LC by LC, Les Cépages by Louis Chavy. So I'm the export manager for Louis Chavy and for La Compagnie des Vins d'Autrefois. We are actually negociants based in Beaune in Burgundy. We are specialized in Burgundy wines. We work with domains, chateaux, small cooperatives, and we also have houses of wines. And Louis Chavy is one of our houses. It's historically based in Puligny-Montrachet, and we own Louis Chavy since 1990. And with the CVA, we had launched many years ago a range called d'Autrefois for Vin de France. Because it's fine, we have a lot of Burgundy wines, but the markets, we felt that we also needed to have a range of Vin de France. And it has been such a success that we have decided today to launch a new range of Vin de France, more modern, more fun, more colorful. And we have called it LC by LC, Les Cépages by Louis Chavy. It's really a focus on the grapes. We have 9 different wines with LC by LC. Fresh, fruity, enjoyable wines. Today, you taste the Pinot Noir Rosé Vin de France. It's 100% Pinot Noir. The grapes come mostly from the Languedoc and a little bit of Burgundy because we are Burgundian. It's a very classic vinification. It's a Rosé de Presse. We harvest by night to really have a nice color, to have fresh aromas and a nice fruit. And yeah, it's really the aim to have fresh, fruity, enjoyable wine and just enjoy. It's really the philosophy of LC by LC. And LC by LC is very new. We have launched the wines in February this year. So we are very excited about these new projects, and we are now developing our distribution and looking for importers in your countries.
So you have 9 different labels from LC by LC, is this right? Yes. Perfect. And it's the first vintage, so it's the first year, 2020. Perfect.
Yes, it is. It is the first year, and we have a Chardonnay, we have a Viognier, Sauvignon, we have Pinot Noir Rosé, Pinot Noir Rouge, we have Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and Merlot. And all declined, you see the label, and it's always different colors, but the same modern labels.
It's very modern comparing to the Burgundy labels, right? So you must be very proud of it. And I think it's a perfect label for the perfect wines because, it's so easy and modern, and, the wines should be enjoyable and making fun. So you said the grapes come from Languedoc and Burgundy. It's a part of Languedoc and a little bit of Burgundy, right?
Yes, it's a very small part of Burgundy, just also to bring a little bit of acidity and a little bit of finesse, and most of the grapes come from the Languedoc, because also to have color, and also because of the price, because Vin de France only made from Burgundy grapes, it just makes no sense, and the price would be much higher. So
there's a question, maybe you can answer it. Why? Because, you know, we have like easy drinking wines, you know, enjoyable very quickly, and maybe a good gastronomy wine as well. So why you don't use screw cap? So why we have a cork here?
It's a very good question. It's a totally new range, and we have developed it without customers yet, to be honest. And we need to produce screw cap with 3,000 bottles. So it just, if we have some demands with screw cap, with orders of 3,000 bottles, we can do that.
Okay, same with you.
Smaller orders, it's cork.
All right, same with you, Jérôme. You offer screw cap as well for your Gascogne wines, or just cork? Oh, maybe not listening. Okay, that's a good question. So, as I understood, so there's a possibility of having screw cap as well for export and for
the big orders, I would say, not for 2 pallets.
All right, perfect. So, yeah, I hope you like and enjoy this rosé. I think it's a very good and dry and very nice to drink rosé. So it's easy drinking, but it's got some really flavors, lovely, like this kind of white strawberries and a little bit of plummy aromas, but not too sweet. I think it's a very good rosé. The funny thing is, we can have, if you have 2 glasses, maybe you can compare these wines, because now we're going to taste a Gamay rosé. Good, perfect, that looks good. You all have this in the glass. It's by Maison Jean Laurent. So, and I know this winery quite a long time, because we sold it a lot, and we sold the red wines, and I think it's perfect, because, you know, Gamay is a great variety. I mean, of course, it's always like the little brother or the little sister of the Pinot Noir, and sometimes you compare it. But I really feel that especially sommeliers and people really asking for Gamay right now. So I think Gamay is a great variety. It's really coming back, and it's got like a reputation right now, which is really fantastic. We're here in Beaujolais. And actually, it's one of the oldest wineries in Beaujolais, I guess. It's founded 711, and it's very like historic. Sorry, Jean-Francois is not 1711, so it's.
Yes, Stephanie, that's the right figure you mentioned. Good morning to you and to everybody. So you already started to give some information about the company. We are based in the south of Burgundy. As you mentioned, one of the oldest and largest vineyard owners in that area. We are located between the Rock of Solutré in Mâconnais. You can see the nice rock behind me, and Moulin Avon in Beaujolais, and we covered the appellations of those areas, including, of course, the 10 crus of Beaujolais, like the famous Brouilly, Fleury, and Juliennas. And the house is the owner of 150 hectares. And the philosophy of our company has always been the respect of all the terroirs, to take into account the huge diversity of the region and produce the best of the grapes from the region. That's the Chardonnay, the Pinot Noir, and the Gaminois. And here we have, as you mentioned, the Gaminois as a rosé. It's a vin de France, but with a quite strong territorial identity. This Gaminois is grown on the granitic hills surrounding Lyon, in the south of the region. And the grapes has been selected from very specific plots, where we try to have the perfect ripeness. We harvest also during the coolest hours of the night to keep the freshness, and we proceed to a direct pressing as well to keep the little nice aromas you can feel in your glass and enjoy it.
It's really enjoyable. And do you use like Macération Carbonique as well in your Gamay? So
not for this wine, and usually speaking, we are not a huge user or huge fan of this method. it can help in some cases, but you can feel that in Beaujolais things are changing and people are coming back to more traditional method, more the Burgundy style method, especially for the reds.
So you talked about the soils. You have lots of like this granity rock, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The Beaujolais is has a long history in terms of stones, and you have a granite, you have limestones as well, but a large diversity of different soils, which makes from one plot to another. Sometimes within the same area or appellation, you can have totally different things. It gives totally different wines at the end.
And do you feel the same as I do? Because, you know, I think Gamay is really coming back and it's getting popular right now. Do you feel the same in France? So it's the same kind of dynamic thing as we experienced here in Germany?
Yeah, I can confirm this. This is something we see in France, in different countries in Europe, and more all over the world. So we're happy to follow and to lead this evolution for the region and for the grape itself. That's very good news. And people discover that from Gamay you can have once again a wide diversity, which maybe has not been always the case in a few years ago. So that's,
and the rosé plays it a big role in your company? Is this a big important?
Not yet, of course. We are specialists in Beaujolais. Is a very small production, and yeah, I think it's only 3% of the total production of Beaujolais wines. But we try also to follow the trends, and there is obviously a demand for the rosé wines, and not only from south or from Provence. So that's there might be. We want to be able to offer other opportunities to customers. So, yeah.
Great. And yeah, I think this will be a wine when you have it in the shelf. It's really like, you know, people grab it. I mean, I made the experience with the red wine because it's a lovely look. It's Jean, it's a little bit, you know, you can this kind of Frenchy feeling and atmosphere. And then you have Gamay. So I think these are all points together. And you made a very clever wine. And I think it's a good, it's a top seller in your shelves if you have it. So I made the experience already that we sold lots of Jean Gamay Rouge back in the days, and I'm very happy that we tasted now the rosé as well. I think it's a good summer drink and it's a perfect wine, especially when you see the color. It's kind of this salmony color, so it means that the wine is not that sweet, it's not sticky, so it's exactly. A very dry, really crisp rosé wine. You can have fun with it. It's a little bit this kind of maybe comparing to Provence style, stylistic of Provence wine, maybe different, but in the kind of dryness and stylistic way.
That's exactly the philosophy we have. So thank you very much, Stephanie, for your comments. And just wanted to add as well that we do propose the wine also in screw caps. And as my colleague said it before, it's also a question of quantities, but some markets where we already sell this wine are requiring screw caps, so there would be no problem.
Okay, perfect. That's good information. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you.
And do you have the Jean Rosé in Germany, Luxembourg already in the market, or are you quite new and so we should?
No, for the rosé, for the color rosé, we are quite new. The wine is popular in UK and Ireland, and not only, but in those countries, and we are open, of course, to to propose it everywhere it would be possible.
Fantastic, perfect. Thanks so much, Jean-François. Thank you so much. So now we are changing color again, and we're going to the Bordeaux region, and we're here, Cuvée Raphael, right? So we're here in the really hard and hilly landscape around.
Stephanie?
Oh no, we have the Bordeaux, huh?
We have the Champini, the Cabernet Franc, I think, before.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you said that.
Perfect. Sorry for that. Sorry. So Sorry for that. Then we have Sambuchampini. And I'm very honored that we have Amélie here later on to talk about the wines. Domaine Le Nerlot means like the wolves. Yeah, that's why the name is that's why the wine's got this name. We have a Cabernet Franc Sambuchampini from Loire Valley, and it's a appellation. I think it's created in the 50s, 57, I think. You know, it's kind of a new appellation in the Loire Valley for red wine. So, and I really like it because it's a lovely red wine. So it's got this kind of acidity, freshness, you know, as you know, we all know maybe Cabernet Franc. And Amélie, you're running the winery right now. So you're a woman and you took over a few years ago, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I will introduce. I'm very pleased to be here. So I am Amélie No. I am the owner of the Domaine de Nerleux, and it's a family estate. And I am the 9th generation and the first woman. So I'm a little bit proud about that. And I manage the domain since 10 years ago. And as Stephanie told you, the Nerleux means wolf in very old French. That's why you have wolf just on the label. So before to have some vines everywhere, of course, there were a lot of wolf, but don't be careful, we have vines and no more wolf. We take care about the vines, of course, in organic transition since 3 years. And we are located in the Loire Valley in Saumur. You know, the Loire Valley, we've got this nice stone of tuffeau. I put that here. It's to build the castle of the Loire Valley, but also it's very nice for the wine because the soil are made of clay and limestone, and so the vines, they can go very deeply, and that's why we've got minerality and freshness in the wine because of this tuffeau, thanks to it. The Domaine de Nerleux, it's 30 hectares. And I produce 150,000 bottles every year. And I've got a range of 15 cuvées and 5 cuvées of Sambuchampini. The Clos des Châtains that chose Stephanie, I understand, because this is the best compromise between light and strong cuvée. And it's a very old vine planted by my grandparents in 1950. So it's less yield and a very nice wine, but I let Stephanie for that. And just a last word about export, because we are used to work with a foreign country, and we would be very pleased to work with you because we are not very, we work in other countries, but not in yours. So let's go, Stephanie, and I will be pleased to answer every question, of course.
So you have 5 different cuvées of Sambuchampini, right? So they're
exactly.
all Cabernet Franc. Perfect. And then what's the other wines you've got?
Oh, I've got Chenin, of course, for the dry white wine and dessert wine, and we do also some sparkling wine. And some rosé.
There was a question from Peter. He said, okay, what's the difference between Sambuchampini and Saumur? I guess Saumur, it's a village, you know, you can produce Crémant de Loire as well, you know, it's kind of famous. Yes. And Sambuchampini is really like this area for red Cabernet Franc wines, right?
This is the difference, because Sambuchampini, it's only 9 villages where there is tuffeau. Saumur, it's a bigger area and not of course tuffeau everywhere, a little bit. And I am the president of the appellation Sambuchampini. So I know that.
I think it's a very it's not a modern wine. I mean, you have a lot of history and, you know, great, really producers, and you are such a great producer. So I think you're very talented, and you make really fantastic Cabernet Francs. But I think, you know, when it comes to modern, it's very interesting because we really want to have fresh red wines right now. So we're tired of this kind of big, alcoholic, juicy, Swedish red wines. I think you really, you know, when it comes to, I mean, we always talk about cool climate as well. I mean, you produce wines which are really like not so high in alcohol, and we've got this kind of freshness and acidity. So tell me about Cabernet Franc. Is Cabernet Franc, it's got a lovely, I think it's a little thinner skin, right? And does Cabernet Franc got acidity from like its origin, or where does the acidity and this freshness come from?
Oh, it's come from the soil, of course, because as I told you, it's a clay and limestone. So we say that the vines, they can go very deeply. We say that they can go 10 meters deep, so that they have always water, and they never suffer of dryness, for example. And we also are in the north part of the France, and I think with the more sun, we've got better maturity for the Cabernet Franc, and I think we understand it's a grape. We don't have to have a long maceration, but the soft maceration is most important to have. The Cabernet Franc is very rich, so we have a nice cooler, we have nice tannin, and so we'd rather soft maceration to have a soft wine and soft for the palate. I think it's important.
Do you use any oak at all in your wines?
Yes, but on 2 other cuvées. This cuvée is only in still, for the freshness as well, but 1 year in still. That's why it's already very wrong.
I think it's perfect red wine. You know, you can drink it a little bit cooler as well, especially when it comes to summer as well. So sitting outside is a very good company for like good food and yeah, having time with some friends, and it's very drinkable. So thanks so much, Amelie, for this lovely wine.
We have some comments in the chat. Great aromas, perfect acidity, big surprise. And a question, which export markets are you targeting?
Oh, I work in United States. I understand the question. Which country?
Yeah, you export already.
Okay, so United States is a big market, and Russia as well, and also, of course, Belgium, but it's not big export. And this is the main market of London, of course, as well. Little bit in Denmark also.
Yeah, and we have also a question about the price, but I don't know if you want to say it now or write an email, for example.
I think by email it's better.
Writing by email, okay. And we have another question. I have to look for it. It was a general question. The person asked, what is the difference between the appellation Saumur and Sambuchampini?
We answered this already, I think.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, sorry.
No, worry. But there's another great question. So again, Amelie, can you tell us about the soil in Sambuchampini?
Yeah. Always the tuffeau. The tuffeau is the stone used for building the castle of the Loire. It's very friable. And we've got 200 kilometers of cave, of cellar, under the village of Saint-Cyr. You know, a very small village, but a cave everywhere, like Gruyère, you know, the cheese. There's a lot of wall everywhere. And Sambuchampini, it's only 9 villages with this type of soil. Saumur is a bigger area with different type of soil. That is the main difference.
Perfect. Great. Thanks so much, Amelie. Now, sorry for this confusing. Now we're going to Bordeaux.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Amelie. And now we have Chateau Parenchère, and we're here around 40 kilometers from Saint-Emilion, so really in the heart of Bordeaux. It's a Bordeaux Supérieur. We have here, 65% of Merlot and 35% of Cabernet Sauvignon, and we have Cuvée Raphael. And I really like, Raphael, I think it's the founder of the chateau in 1958, roundabout. And I'm really happy that I can present a Bordeaux as well, because, you know, Bordeaux is also like, there are so many great Bordeaux we can find. And here, especially on this one, it really touches our heart as well. It's a very soft, subtle, lovely, elegant Bordeaux. It's got really like this, strong flavors of red fruits, berries, but very elegant. Everything is very in harmony and very well integrated. So I'm very happy to have Julia. Thanks so much, Julia, for this lovely wine. So this is a wine which is actually on the market right now, the 2018. Is this right?
Yes, thank you very much, Stephanie, for your great comments about the wine. So you're right, my grandfather took it over in 58, but the chateau is much older. The chateau dating from the 16th century, so we are a tiny part of the history of this chateau. So we are the very east side of Bordeaux, and actually the border of Bordeaux is in our estates, because there's a small river called the Seine, and it's the limit of Bordeaux. So in front of us, there is the Bergerac Wines. We are not far from there. And Parenchère, the particularity, we have chalk and clay soils there. We really have wines that are aging really well. And also a particularity is that we grow a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon, which is very unusual from this region by Merlot. But us, we really like the way the Cabernet Sauvignon is doing in our wines. It's just a question of waiting longer to harvest them. So very patient in general to get the right ripeness in the wines. And I think we really like the Cabernet because it's bringing a lot of complexity in our wines, a nice spiciness and elegance. And the Merlot is there to have the suppleness and the fruits, intense fruit. So this kind of really balance helps us to the final balance in the wine. And this Cuvée Raphael, actually, so it's our oldest vines, which my grandfather planted in 58. It's a selection of the very low yields, never less than 40 hectoliters per hectare. And it's aging in French oak barrels, only French. We made some tests with American other types, but it was not really what we were looking for. So, but we only place about 30% new barrels every year because we want the oak to be very integrated in the wine. And you described that in your description of the wine. And yes, we try to focus on the fruit first. So that's why the oak is not a goal, but we want it's a good combination. It's a good complementary to our wines. So Parenchère, actually, we are working nearly as a Grand Cru. We work at very low yields. We do debudding during harvest. We also have an optical sorting system at the chateau. So for a Bordeaux Supérieur, I think we are trying to best possible quality we can. And hopefully for us, some people saw it. We've got good comments from the press, even Parker in the 80s, that it could pass as a classified growth in the blind tastings. And well, this one has won the talent of the Bordeaux Supérieur this year. So there were 850 competition. It got 90 points from cycling and wine enthusiasts. So that helped us to emerge because, as you all know, Bordeaux Supérieur is a very large and competitive area. So we are happy that you've selected our wines here because I know there's a fierce competition here. But we really ourselves as an introduction to the Grand Cru world of Bordeaux, and but still having the fruit up front and nice suppleness. So in France, we have maybe 1,000 customers about buying our wines and keeping them for a long time. because this one has 20 years of aging potential. But we also have wines that are ready to drink. So that's how we really work with micro-oxygen, because naturally we have a very powerful wines that come. Well, the way my grandfather was producing the wines, you had to wait for 4 years before starting to drink it. It was, tannins were a bit sharp and really there. What we do in the winemaking, we try to have it supple, so that's why we do a little skin maceration, and we work at very low temperature, and we're using the micro-oxygen to get the tannin smoother and open. So I think what you can feel in this wine here is the suppleness, but everything young. 2018 for Bordeaux is still young, but you can feel the oak is not overpowering. Everything is well integrated. It's already supple, but it's a wine that's got aging potential. So we need to be good in both parts in Bordeaux to be good at drinking early, but honestly, the way we develop is really where. But we know nobody can wait for 20, 30 wines, right?
Yeah, we had some comments like, sorry.
Cuvée is our test wines that we produce every year. It's not a small cuvée because we produce about 60,000 bottles every year of that wine. So it's our first wine, let's say. And the chateau has quite now a large range of wines because we have 3 red wine, 1 entry-level non-oaked wine, Cuvée Raphaël, and in some years we put a special limited cuvée called Esprit de Parenchère. We're adding more red, low salt wine, so it's coming up to something a bit more ready to do with the white wine, also dry whites, Sauvignon Blanc, Sémillon, and Muscadel. And 2 rosé, a claret, which is becoming rare in Bordeaux now. It's a small maceration rosé and the light style of rosé. But Cuvée Raphaël is really every year our Père de Lance, we would say in French, our special cuvée.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Julia. When we tasted this wine in our judgment, we were very surprised, and we said that, okay, maybe, I mean, you know, this is kind of maybe the modern Bordeaux, like this really lovely new, like future Bordeaux style, because of this kind of fruit, not too heavy and not too oaky. Everything is very well integrated. Would you go with that? I mean, you have a good history, and of course, you know, you're in Bordeaux, but we thought that it was really, this is the future of this area.
Thank you. Yes. We are still classic. I would describe us as a classical Bordeaux because the tannins are there. It's a wine for aging as well, but we try to have a hint of modernity in this suppleness and this pushing the fruit up. So that's target. Yes.
And yeah, we had some very lovely comments as well, because people said, finally, it's a good Bordeaux again. So yeah, bring Bordeaux back on the shelves and back on the map. So this is a really fun thing. So this is actually vintage. And I said, I read yesterday, so the 2017 and 16 vintage, they had a different percentage of Merlot and Cabernet. So you've changed it every year. So how do you make the blend? So what's important for you?
What we do with that wine, I mean, it's not other wines. We really focus on the best plots of each year. So each year, in general, it's the same plots that are giving the best results, that we can have nice surprise. And Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and even Malbec. And so depending on the year, each plot is harvested separately, it's making one full wine with its own identity. And then we start to blend the different cuvées together. And for Cuvée Raphaël, we really focus on the best plots of each year. So often is the more dense, the full cuvée, but also we always think about the expression of the fruit and the silkiness, because Cuvée Raphaël is all about power, but silkiness. So depending on the always the same plots that are doing the best results. So we are playing every year with and that vintage here, I see the question, it was 65 Merlot and Cabernet. But in general, on the Cuvée Raphaël, it tends to be half Merlot and half Cabernet to have, because we like the combination of the two and we like the balance that it gives. So it's changing every year, softly, but the tendency is to be about half and half. And some years the Cabernet Franc was in this cuvée as well. So it really depends on the year.
Okay, so this is your flagship of Chateau Parenchère, yeah, the cuvée Raphaël. How many years you produce this cuvée already? So what's the how many years you have cuvée Raphaël already?
Well, actually, we are a historic chateau with families, so we've done a special cuvée on the name of the children we were born. So there is a cuvée Julia a long time ago, and since my grandfather passed away, we decided to have the wine every year on his name. So Cuvée Raphaël, we started in '89. That still is the same name since. And, in honor of my grandfather, who had to replant the whole vineyard in '58, because in '56 frost, in Bordeaux, and a lot of the Bordeaux vineyard was decimated. So we replanted the vines in '58 when he purchased the chateau, and that's why we call that cuvée. And also we make another cuvée slightly more powerful, but more Cabernet Sauvignon and only new oak, but it's not every year. It's called Esprit de Parenchère. To be the wine of Parenchère, but only on special years. So it's just to have fun. And with a wine with a long aging potential, like 20 years.
Okay,
is really what's more representative of us.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks for bringing us Bordeaux back to our shelves and wine list. So really fantastic wine. Thanks so much. So now we're going from Bordeaux to Languedoc, and I'm very happy that we have a fougère here with us tonight or today. And yeah, Chateau Fardel, Laurence, is a fougère. So we're here in Appellation Languedoc fougère. Yeah, it's a very known appellation in the south of France. We're here next. I mean, we have a very Mediterranean climate, so we have the sea, we have lots of rivers, and so on. So there's lots of water involved in fougère. So, and I'm very happy that I have a fougère. When I lived in London and I worked in London, we had lots of fougère. So in England, it's very like common wine, especially when you go to a wine bar, easy drinking, maybe with some meat. So, but here in Germany, we can't really find this anymore. And I'm very happy that Samira is bringing back fougère to my world. So thanks so much, Samira. You there with your father, or who is this next to you?
Actually, he's my boss, Mr. Pierre de Grotte.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
He's also the winemaker of this wine, the owner of the company. And yes, thank you very much, Stephanie, for selecting our wine. It's true that fougère is not very common, and we would be very happy to share this wine with you today. And thank you.
First of all, because I think fougère is not that popular, so tell us about climate, soils. It's kind of humid, I experienced, and there are some there's lots of water. So what's the climate and soils in your area?
Okay, so I will translate.
I'm sorry, I don't speak English. I'm sorry. Ouais.
Donc en fait, quel est le climat et quels sont les sols, comment sont les sols, les terroirs à fougère? C'est humide.
Alors d'abord au niveau sol, c'est du schiste.
Soil is tritum.
Voilà, ce qui donne une particularité au vin, c'est des vins très très souples, avec peu d'acidité.
Which gives the wine like a kind of soft taste with less acidity.
On n'est pas près de la mer, donc on est à 30 km de la mer, donc elle bénéficie d'un climat plutôt un peu tempéré, pas trop ensoleillé et pas trop humide.
So we have a climate which is temperate, not too humid, not too sunny. We are about 40 kilometers from the sea, Mediterranean Sea.
Ce qui est très intéressant pour les vins biologiques.
which is very interesting for the organic wines.
Ce qui nous permet de moins traiter.
In order to treat less, to use no entrance.
Voilà. Je continue?
Oui, bien sûr.
Ouais. Donc, le château de Lorentz, c'est une propriété que j'ai achetée maintenant il y a à peu près une dizaine d'années, qui appartenait à un ancêtre de Valentin Duc. Hein, c'est un château qui a été construit dans les années, dans le XIIe siècle.
Okay, so the castle Lorentz, Château Lorentz, was built in 12th century, and it was the first owner was Duc.
Valentin Duc.
Valentin Duc. On the 12th century, and we bought this winery, this estate, this castle about 10 years ago.
Donc, on a acheté la propriété, mais on a revendu le château à la mairie parce que c'était un château trop important avec trop d'entretien. On a gardé la cave et les vignes qui sont autour.
So the castle is very impressive building, but we bought everything: the winery, the how you say, yes, the building, everything. But then we sold the building to the head
La ville.
city. How we say, the mayor. How we say? I forgot in English. City hall. City hall.
Voilà.
Yeah. Now it became the city hall of Lorentz village. But we kept all the wine part. We only sold the castle, the building, and now it became the city hall of the village because it's a beautiful building. It's very impressive, but it needs a lot of investment, you know, to keep. It's very old, so we just it's, you know, it's a French legacy, so we prefer to leave it to the village. We sold it to it. Can you hear us? Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. Everything is perfect. Great.
Cool.
Thanks so much. And thanks for this kind of very lovely information. It's fantastic. So you said about it's easy to make biodynamic wine because of the climate, because of the wind and so on. So you produce biodynamic since when? So since when you produce organic wine?
Alors depuis quand nous faisons des vins bio?
Alors, nous, personnellement, ça fait plus de 30 ans.
Personally, so we started organic wine more than 30 years ago.
Cette propriété que nous avons achetée il y a une dizaine d'années, ça faisait déjà au moins 15 ans qu'elle était en bio.
So when we bought this estate, this winery, it was already organic, partly organic, not 100%.
Donc ça fait 25 ans que cette propriété est en bio.
But this winery, this wine, Château Lorentz, since 25 years, it started to become organic, step by step.
And you kind of you have a focus on your grape varieties. So you only have Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre. Yeah, why is that? So because it's, you know, you're allowed to produce other grape varieties as well in the blend. So
yes.
Why do you in love with these three grape varieties?
Ok, pourquoi avoir choisi le Syrah, Mourvèdre et Grenache?
D'abord, je suis un amoureux de la Syrah.
So he's in love with Syrah, Shiraz first.
En plus, la Syrah se comporte très très bien dans les appellations faugères.
In Faugère, Syrah is one of the best varietal.
C'est ce qui donne le corps et le fruit.
The fruits and the body, we have a full body wine. This is thanks to the Shiraz.
Et on met 20% de Syrah en barrique pendant 6 mois.
And there is the Shiraz is aged in oak barrel and partly, not 100%, but 20% of our Shiraz is aged in the oak barrel for 6 months.
C'est un cépage qui supporte très bien la barrique sans donner trop de boisé.
Because this is a varietal that is good when we age it in oak barrels, but it won't give too much woody taste, not too strong.
Ensuite, le grenache, c'est ce qui donne la souplesse, la finesse.
The grenache will give softness, fineness, and la finesse, vous avez dit?
Finesse, la souplesse et la finesse.
Souplesse, softness, okay.
Et ensuite, le Mourvèdre qui donne un petit cachet de poivré, de complexité dans le vin.
And the Mourvèdre will give spicy notes and more complexity. This is why he chose those 3 varieties.
Donc, en fait, l'assemblage, pour moi, est un meilleur équilibre pour ce type de produit.
Donc, so he said that this blending of those 3 varieties and the percentage, how it is made, 50, 20, and 40s and 10, is the best blend we can have to get this result of wine, to get this taste, and also this balance, to get this kind of balance and structured.
So it's always this blend, it's always 50, 40, 10, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Donc on est aussi propriétaire de plusieurs vignobles dans le Languedoc.
So we own also several wineries in the Languedoc.
Puisqu'on a 12 domaines.
We have 12 domaines.
Ce qui représente 600 hectares.
About 600 hectares.
On a des propriétés sur le Cabardès, Minervois.
We have Cabardès appellation, Minervois appellation.
Coteaux du Languedoc.
Coteaux du Languedoc.
Cité de Carcassonne.
Cité de Carcassonne.
Et vin de Pays d'Oc.
And also a vin de Pays d'Oc.
On ne fait que l'exportation.
We are mainly focusing on exportation.
On est sur une trentaine de pays.
About 30 countries.
À l'origine, je suis belge.
So he's Belgium, the origin.
Et je suis arrivé en France en 69.
But my boss arrived in France in 1969.
Et j'ai créé une société qui s'appelait les Domaines Virginie.
And he created the first company named Virginie.
Qui était une société de négoce qualitatif avec une winery.
Which was associated with a winery, but was négociant in very high premium négociant.
Que j'ai vendu au groupe Castel.
And then he sold this first company to Castel Group.
Et j'ai gardé uniquement les châteaux et domaines.
Then, when he sold this company, it was more than 20 years ago, he kept the chateau and the domain. He only sold his négociant part to Castel.
Pour mieux contrôler la qualité, l'historique et l'authenticité du produit.
And the aim was to control more the quality and the authenticity of the production. So he preferred to focus on only this region, Languedoc, only his domain and chateau, because before with Virginie, he used to have several appellations outside Languedoc too.
Et le château de Lorrains est un de nos fleurons de la gamme.
And Château Lorrains, of course, is one
de meilleure qualité.
One of our premium chateaux, which we really we are really happy with this chateau, so we keep it. We don't sell it.
Donc nous produisons aux alentours de 60 à 80 000 bouteilles suivant les années.
So depending on each year, we produce between 60,000 and 80,000 bottles.
Et nos principaux clients sont des petits cavistes sur la Belgique.
And for this wine, our main clients are in Belgium. They own wine shops.
Donc,
in China as well.
Et en Chine. Donc aujourd'hui, ce vin est entièrement disponible sur tous les autres pays.
So this wine is totally available for other countries such as yours. This is why it's a good opportunity for us to introduce you this wine today.
Okay.
Perfect, and it's a delicious wine. It's really lovely. We love this kind of fruit aromas, this kind of juiciness without being sticky. So it's a very good glass of red wine. You know, sometimes you really want some fruit and some color and some richness and some plumminess. So we thought, the judgment saw that this one is really a lovely, great glass of wine, of red wine. It's really fantastic. And it's good to have Fougère back, you know, and you have this Languedoc style aromas, and you really feel the sea, and everything is perfect in this wine. It's really, really fantastic. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about just one thing. What's the special on Fougère? I mean, comparing to the other Languedoc areas, because we learned right now that you have lots of companies within this area. What's the special thing? What's the mystique, in your opinion, of Fougère?
Okay. Quelles sont les spécificités en fait de gère par rapport aux autres appellations qu'on a.
Dans le Languedoc?
Dans le Languedoc.
C'est un terroir particulier avec du schiste. C'est dans l'appellation Languedoc, c'est le seul terroir avec du schiste.
So within all Languedoc, Languedoc is very big region. It's the only place, the only terroir with stratum. In French, we said schist, English schist or stratum. So several kind of, together. It's a very specific terroir, and only in Faugère, you have this kind of terroir.
Ce qui donne un vin très typé, c'est le Faugère. Dans le Languedoc, c'est vraiment un vin très particulier qui ne ressemble pas aux autres.
This is why Faugère is totally different if you compare with other appellation in Languedoc. This is why there is a typicity of the wine. It's due to the specific.
Et c'est une toute petite appellation.
And it's a small appellation.
La totalité, on fait à peu près 15 000 hectolitres, ce qui est pas grand-chose.
Yeah, so the production is not so big. It's like we have like 15,000 hectoliters. It's not that big comparing to other.
Perfect. Thanks again. Thanks so much for this.
You're welcome.
It's really, it's a very new thing and it's perfect. It's a lovely wine too.
Glad you like it. I hope we will have the opportunity to drink it together. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we come to another area which is really like amazing. It's a Bergerac. So we're now having a Bergerac. Perfect, from Vignobles du Bar. And Bergerac, it's a lovely area. I mean, we have here, of course, the River Dordogne. So you see this south of Saint-Emilion. So, it's really reflecting by the River Dordogne. So we have fantastic, amazing wines. And we love this wine as well because, again, it's not that overpowering. We wrote down our tasting notes that this one has got lots of elegant aromas, and we have this kind of subtle strawberry, berry, goose, blackberry, but with a lovely acidity and a good freshness. And I'm very happy to have Bergerac here. So we have this kind of appellation, which is also not known. It's not that famous. Of course, Bordeaux is very famous, but Bergerac is not that famous one. So we have someone from the chateau here, right?
Stephanie, I'm not sure that Amanda is here.
Okay. Then
So you can speak about the product. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So the name Bergerac means, it comes from the name Bergerac, which means meaning manufacturers. So this is where the name comes from. And we have here a blend of Merlot, Malbec and Cabernet Franc. And I think really you can really taste the three amazing grape varieties. So you have the Malbec, of course, this kind of juiciness. You have the Merlot, which gives a little bit of roundness, and the Cabernet Franc, the acidity and the greenish aromas. So we really love this wine because it's kind of it's very different to Bordeaux. It's got a different, of course, soils and area, but we really fall in love with this wine. We have lots of chalky soils here in Bergerac as well, and a good humidity through the Dordogne, and we found this wine was really worth it to become in the top 10. So how do you like it? I hope you like it as well. So actually, this winery is founded in the 70s by the family Dubon, and so they also have wineries in Saint-Emilion, so Pomerol and Pusiguen, Saint-Emilion. So it's a great family, so we can really discover lots of great wines from them. So it's a very unspoiled nature, actually, Bergerac. So it's a bit wild when it comes to Bordeaux. Of course, it's very beautiful and, you know, tidy. So Bergerac is more like this kind of wild, wild area. So, but it's, really nice to discover as well. So we have lots of chalky soils and, All right, so then we have the next one, and I'm very happy to present a Cahors as well to you. So we're here in southwest France. Yeah, you see this on the map. So we have Domaine Goudou, and we have a classic 2018 Malbec Tradition Cahors. And of course, this is kind of the heaviest wine we have in this tasting, but not too overpowering. So as you may understood, I mean, I really love this kind of fresh and drinkable red wines and wines. So, of course, this is a heavy one, the heaviest one we have, but also a lovely elegance on this wine. So do we have someone here from Chateau de Goudou?
Yes, hello. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Hey.
Hi. So my name is Paula Gillan. I do represent Chateau de Goudou. So as it was introduced, Chateau de Goudou is based in southwest of France, actually really by Cahors. It exists since 1733, so it's a very old domain, let's say approximately 300 years. And so today it is the seventh generation of winemakers that follow the tradition. It's only one family, so the family is Duroux Wines. And so today it's Fabrice Duroux, the official winemaker and actually the actual winemaker. The wine
generation, yeah, right? Sorry, it's the seventh generation, or
exactly? Yes, it is. So he just arrived at the domain in the 2000, and so he expanded the domain. So today we do have approximately 60 hectares. And he was in the approach to conquest the world. So today we are distributing wines around approximately 10 different countries. Most of our wines are distributed in Canada. And especially the one you will taste. It's very famous over there. So, well, what to say exactly? So we are practicing the sustainable wine growing, of course. We are about to turn into 100% organic as well, to just well involve and to make the best quality of wines we can do. We are using a different terroir, of course, and we are making a different type of wine as well, and especially so one white wine made of 100% Malbec, which is absolutely well, uncommon. We're also proposing bubbles as well, 100% Malbec. So yes, we are really into modernity, and this is what is exactly translate, my bad, I was looking for the word, translating actually the atmosphere of Chateau de Goudou. We are always looking for modernity and to push Cahors appellation into another way and to just reintroduce it, because so 20 years ago it was like very powerful, very tannin, very well, full body and completely different than, I guess, the one you're drinking. And
but that's always what you have in mind when you read Cahors. You always think like, oh, this power alcoholic, really strong red wine. But your Malbec is just out of this. Really, it's really amazing. So it's really this kind of good and new freshness. So maybe we know when we talk about traditional and modern, would you say this your domain is like the modern style of Cahors, so you're kind of the new generation of Cahors?
Exactly, yes, we can say that, because so, like I just said, so we're trying to make different wines that it used to be made 20 years ago, with adding some hit of freshness, with, like I introduced, a white wine, 100% Malbec. So we wanted to change the identity, Cahors wine identity, into something very popular, easy drinking, but in somehow keeping the same tradition and mixing actually modernity and tradition. And this is what we are trying to do actually. So we completely quit the name of black wine when you couldn't see your fingers across the the glass, and different flavors and different feelings about it.
And I wrote that you have still old wines and they are on original rootstocks still. Is this right? So do you have some really old wines? And
yes, actually we do, and we are very proud of it, especially for the whites, because so of course we have the white 100% Malbec, but we are making two others. One is orange wine with a Semillon and Sauvignon, and the other is a sweet wine as well, Sauvignon and Semillon too. And so the particularity of those vines, this is so they are more than 200 years. So they are survivors of the phylloxera, attacked, if we can call it like this. I think it's the correct word. So yeah, we do have really, really, really old vines, and this is why actually we do produce quite qualitative white wines as well.
Mm-hmm. And I read some critic wrote that when you come to your kind of place, it's like Beverly Hills of Cahors. Why is that?
So the funny thing is that we met which one? We met Bethan and De Sauve, and so they describe it, the area as the Beverly Hills of Malbec. So all around our place, we can see different vineyards producing, of course, Malbec, and so we do have a very typical terroir that we are very happy to use, because so it products very well quality, the Malbec grapes variety, and yeah, it's very interesting. And concerning so this surname, it just is we had an amazing view, an amazing terroir, an amazing wine, and we are very proud of it. And so we had this surname that we are very proud to keep today.
And we have lots of prizes as well. Now, Decanter really loves you, and you got really good rated in America and England.
Yes, actually, so we have one cuvée which is Le Sang de Mater, which was on the top 100 of wine. It was 3 years ago, and this is actually the one that can maybe the best represent the modernity, Cahors modernity I wanted to introduce before, because so it's completely different. It's very thin. It's very with a lot of smooth and smooth tannin, not a very high acidity, full of flavor, and actually to me it's an incredible wine that completely represents the way we want to involve in Cahors.
And in this blend we have today, you have a little bit of Tannat and Merlot. So why is that? So what's the thing about, this 20% of different grape varieties? And
so this cuvée Tradition is one of the first cuvées that was created in Château de Godeau. So we wanted to keep the tradition and to the transfer of knowledge, and this is actually the main common blend but in the same time, so we wanted to keep the flavors, fruity flavors. So this is why actually we used Merlot too. And in the same time, we wanted to keep as well the powerful of the tannins with the association of tannats as well. Even if a Malbec doesn't really need it, but the blend of those three just giving the traditional way. So Malbec Cahors wines used to be made, but in a different way. I don't know if I explain it.
It's perfect. It's really nice.
We have some question in the chat. So is it possible to visit the Chateau de Gadou in June?
Sure, please.
June, yeah.
Yes, that would be absolutely a pleasure. And if you need any space or any place to stay, so we do have an apartment just nearby, and we will be pleased actually to welcome you.
And another question. So the chateau is still in possession of a French family, is it right? Or
yes, yeah. Still. So Fabrice Duroux is so in 1733 there were a marriage of the Brugge family and the Duroux family too, and so this is where actually everything started. Had this domain first, and then so they turn into winemaking, lavender actually planting as well, because so during the phylloxera it was quite complicated to survive with only wines, so they just decided to explore different domains. So they used to plant lavender, and it was one of the first domain making it in Cahors area. Then so they went back into winemaking, but it's the same family from the beginning till now, and there is another generation. So we are waiting for that young lady to grow up a little bit more, and of course I think it will have a transfer of knowledge too.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
Thanks for this great wine. It's really a good example for a fantastic Cahors. So, and you don't need to be scared of it. So I was a little bit, I'm always scared when I see Cahors, but with this one, and it's so good to drink. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for your compliment.
So we had really 10 amazing wines from, you really have to look at it. So from Alsace, Côte de Gascogne, Burgundy, Rosé Fougère, Bergerac, Cahors. So I think it's really worth it to look at these wines. It's really amazing wines. And thanks so much for your comments, for your wines, for your, really nice explanations. And is there any questions? Do you have questions to the winemakers, to the wineries?
Là, les clients sont partis.
Non, là, c'est les questions.
So now we can, maybe opening the chat again, or you can talk if you like, if you have a question, and let us know if you need anything. Jérôme, do you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
There was a question of, would you offer Screw Club as well if customers want it?
We can do it. We just need some minimum volumes to be able to start with Screw Club, but no problem with that. We are able to do it. Maybe I can take note about who, and I didn't see the question, so.
And I think your wine is a perfect, like a restaurant wine, when
yes,
it's on the terrace. So it's nice, and convenient for the restaurants with a Screw Club. I think it's easier to handle it. I mean,
it is true. It is true. We have already some requirements for that, so we are working on it for next year. Yeah.
Perfect. And how can we reach you guys? So we can send you an email. Are you fine with that? If someone is interested in buying your wine, so you can drop an email, and the email address you get from Dennis and already. Are you right? This is right? Perfect. So if you're interested, just yeah, let us know. So yeah, thanks so much again, and thanks for this lovely morning with you guys, and thanks for the wines and for the nice.
There's one question in the chat. Yes, I have to check it. So there's one question about the sugar in the Gewürztraminer. Ist der Bebelheim?
Ja, hallo. Habe ich gerade geantwortet. Also wir haben etwa 15 Gramm Restzucker in diesem Gewürztraminer.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bitteschön.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you hopefully next year.
Yes.
at a fair in one kind of place.